BlackRock, a fund management corporation with $9 trillion in assets under management, employs 16,000-plus individuals in 70 branches over 30 nations. BlackRock owns stock in 4,973 companies. But how did all of that started? Larry Fink. Larry got his start on Wall Street at the age of 24. He was yet another lad from LA with jewelry and long hair seeking to make a mark for himself at the heart of global finance at the time. With a pay scale of $20,000, he joined First Boston. His hard work was immediately recognized by managers, and he was groomed to become CEO. Fink would work long shifts on a Monroe calculator. The finance team made a miscalculation in the Q2 of 1986. The department predicted that interest rates would soar, but the reverse happened. Larry Fink was the guy in command when First Boston lost $100 million of their clients' funds. Fink went from leader to troll in less than a day. Everybody noticed the error. Fink was let go. He guffawed in embarrassment. Worse, it wasn't even his fault. His estimates were based on data from the back end, but they didn't come out as predicted due to a technical glitch. Fink was stumped. He couldn't stop thinking about the fortune he'd lost. No one was aware of the dangers. The computer systems were not up to par. In 1988, Larry Fink and 7 peers with experience in mortgage-backed assets formed BlackRock in one room. With a $5 million bank loan, they were able to handle assets that were good for clients. The FDIC was one of his initial clients. The industry was on the edge of collapse due to certain bad decisions made by S&L until their settlement trust organization was founded. Fink's BlackRock was recruited by the FDIC to oversee S&L's holdings after the government took control. However, BlackRock was developing a Fink version tech. Aladdin was the name for the tech. BlackRock had $9 billion in AUM by 1991. They had $17 billion in 1992 and $53 billion in 1994. Aladdin. BlackRock unveiled a risk evaluation and risk management system including 5,000 computers that work 24/7 and are monitored by a group of engineers, mathematicians, and developers. The BlackRock software could track millions of daily deals and analyze each asset in his client's stock holdings to understand how they might be influenced by even slight economic developments. Aladdin is a name for this system. The technology was actively scouring the markets for anything that may go bad, and it had formed the basis for a second firm that would extend BlackRock's scope beyond asset management into the realm of client advice. Aladdin now oversees a total of $21 trillion in assets and growing. With a diversified portfolio in 1999, BlackRock became a publicly traded company. However, people remained dubious of their latest tech. BlackRock had the month's worst IPO. As the time passed, the market realized that, despite having the cheapest shares, BlackRock was keeping its commitments to investors. Fink opted to leverage the strength of acquisitions over 16 years of sustained growth. BlackRock had operations in Sydney, Singapore, London, and Munich before the end of the year. Fink was on a flight to Singapore in 2008. Lehman Brothers had gone bankrupt back home. The following morning, Fink traveled back to the US as the financial industry had shifted and was in peril. He'd call politicians and warn them, "This shit is hitting the fan. You've got to do something." Fink was chosen by the Federal Reserve Board of New York City to oversee a $30 billion portfolio of Bear Stearns assets during the economic meltdown of 2008. Fink because the bank failed to examine their investments, and Aladdin was used by investors, banks, and the Treasury. When the market was falling apart, Aladdin was on the climb and continued to expand by acquiring more clientele, becoming the go-to place amid economic turmoil. Fink, the humiliated guy, had arrived to save the country from an economic disaster. The buying frenzy continued after this. In 2009, BlackRock purchased Front for $1.3 billion, and in 2009, it bought Barclays Global Investors for $13.5 billion. BlackRock became the nation's top asset manager as a result of this acquisition. Fink immediately realized the advantages of tech when it was correctly used. For 14 years in a row, he was recognized as one of the world's finest CEOs. Today, a man who was dismissed is now the most powerful figure in finance.